Good morning. Just a few more seconds, and it will be 8 a.m. Didn't mean to start this early. Okay. Good morning. Good morning, Facebook family and friends. This is Saturday morning with Dr. Mama Rosie Thompson, and it is 8 a.m. on June 29th, 2024. We are yet talking about becoming our whole authentic self, financial maturity. Today we're going to finish. After today, we're going to move on to something else, developing a spending and saving plan. Good morning again. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate all of you who join me live as I come on. Those of you who will listen to this video later. And for those of you who watch it on YouTube, thank you so much. And thank you, Sister Pat. I appreciate you letting me know that you don't see it early so that people know. I do it live on Facebook, and then I download it and post it to YouTube. So people on YouTube won't see it at 8 when I do it. You'll see it probably by 9 when I'm done and download it. Want to say after today, as I said, we're going to finish our spending, talking about financial maturity. There's a lot to talk about in it, but since I don't know actually what people need and where to go, because some of it seems very generic, and I don't want to give you things that doesn't benefit. So after today, we're going to go into mental. I forgot what it's called. We're gonna go into today and talk about talking about emotional maturity. I'm so sorry. And tomorrow, not tomorrow, but Saturday when I come on, we talked about emotional intelligence. We did that already. So Saturday when I come on, we'll go recap that a little bit, and we'll set the foundation to talk about emotional maturity. And then on the following Saturday, as we get ready to go into it, which will be the 13th. On the 13th, we will actually start. And we have a mental health manager out of Texas, who's going to come on and be our guest. And I think that she's perfect for it because she works in the prison, prison facility. So dealing with a lot of different people. So she'll be able to come on, and we're going to talk about the importance of being mentally mature. I mean, we're going to be mature in everything we do, but we're going to talk about mental maturity. And then we'll start that next week. Anyway, thank you for joining today. We're going to go ahead and get started. As I said, today we're going to continue to talk about developing our spending and saving plan. We know that before we can start to do anything, we need to know where we are. We need to know where we are with our finances. We talked about our cash flow last week. We didn't really do much about cash flow, but we were more talking about yes, we did cash in, cash out. That's what we're going to talk about. So we talked about if our expense outweighs our income, we have to fix that. We have to start out by figuring where the problem lies, the source of the problem, whatever the reason is. We don't do excuses. Whatever the reason is, we have to find out what's causing us to be, not to be able to live in our means, and then we have to fix it. We have to take those steps to get our head above water. Because for us, and for these presentations, drowning is never an option in anything in our lives. We don't drown, we succeed. And that's what we're doing. We're looking for ways to succeed. We're doing the things that take to succeed, and that's what we are. Forbes, we gave you the Forbes ABC solution. They said access, break down, cut, and decide. They want you to access and analyze everything. We have to look at it. You have to assess your situation before you can make any changes. That's why we don't recommend that you do anything until you look at where you are. Break down. Once you have the big numbers, you break them down into the categories. So we're going to talk about the categories that I told you I didn't want to give you a lot, because when it's a lot of categories, sometimes people don't stay in it. But it's really important that we manage and know what we're doing. Cut the fat. They say cut the fat. They say anything that's not a contractual or necessary thing like food or the bills you have to pay, that you just cut them. I don't personally agree with that, because there's something I feel that we should have the things that we enjoy. Even if it's a luxury item, you deserve it. I mean, you got a right to it. We just have to decide how we're going to do it. How are we going to buy the item that's not a contractual or a necessary item? And then decide. We're going to make the decisions. It's very going to be necessary if we're going to bring our life back into a balance, into equilibrium. And in order to do that, we have to look at everything and make those decisions. Okay. Then we talked about Why people buy things that they don't need. We're talking about emotional satisfaction, boredom. People just get bored sometimes and go shopping. They need to feel that emotional support. Sometimes they're seeking happiness or seeking excitement. And don't forget that our lives follow a non-linear path. Don't forget, successes and failures occur. Expectations are not always reached, but we don't have to give up. We don't have to stop trying. We don't have to start working to become our whole authentic self. We can go back and do it again. The National Institute of Medicine said that they did their finding, which indicate that various forms of trauma are correlated with compulsive buying behavior. So we want to pay attention to that, particularly when we witness violence or emotional abuse. That's the one that stood out the most and got the highest rating. When we witness something, witness violence or witness emotional abuse, how it affects us, and sometimes we can become compulsive buyers. We want to be disciplined shoppers. We want to be mindful when we shop. We want to tap into our talents if we need to increase our income. We talked a little bit last week about our needs and our wants, what's important. And so for definitely for those of us who have been a victim of trauma, who have actually been in traumatic situations, watch for trauma triggers. Trauma triggers will oftentimes have you shopping, trying to feel better about yourself when we really have to deal with the issue. We have to bring ourselves into the now. This is not happening to me. What happened these years ago? I'm here today. Things in my life is different today. I don't have to supplement things, or I don't have to try and make myself feel better by spending money that I shouldn't be spending. When I spend money, it's because this is something I want, something I need, something that's going to make my life better. Not for any other reason. Not because somebody hurt my feeling years ago. Not because mom didn't buy me a purse years ago. Not because dad didn't give me those shoes years ago. Not because my husband said no to me years ago. But because this is what I want to do. Sunk costs. We don't make decisions based on the past. We make decisions based on what's best for me today and going forward. So how much income you receive and where it comes from is important. When we're tracking it, it's important to know how much you're getting and where it's coming from. I know it may seem a little bit like, and I'll tell you why. Knowing how your regular income, knowing how your regular income is can be important. It can be important if you understand your income is the first step to help us meet our need. So regular income, we talk about our regular income. This we're talking about our paycheck. The money you expect to receive every week, every other week, twice a month, even once a month. Social Security, disability, or your regular paycheck, that's what I'm talking about. This is your regular income. Then you also have sometimes unpredictable income. This is the income that varies in amount, or it can vary in time, and pay from hourly work may be unpredictable. If the hours vary from week to week, then you have this unpredictable income. Some people may only receive child support, a spousal support. And that can happen sporadically at various amounts. So that can be your unpredictable income. Even if they are supposed to be paid regularly, if it's not happening regularly, then it's unpredictable income. Then you may have that seasonal income, which your seasonal income may be predictable. It may come only in a particular time of month. Perhaps you always receive money from a friend, a family member, around the holidays, or you may sell crafts at a fall festival or in your community, or you may be employed at a package delivery driver during the winter time. Whatever it is, like your bonuses, things that happen only at certain times, your seasonal income. And then you get these one-time income. You may have a one-time income. This is a lump sum amount the person may get from from an individual Indian money, market plan. It could be anything. Or you get this money when you turn 18. Or this money your parents saved up until you become a certain age. Pay you receive from working a one-time job. So, like helping somebody move. Keep in mind that whether each source of income is regular, unpredictable, seasonal, or one time, it can also, if you pay attention to all the monies that you're getting, then it'll help you when you get ready to save. And we're going to talk about how we're going to label tracking and share, save, and spend. We're going to talk about that. But you're looking to all the money that you come into. If you don't pay attention to all the money that you come into and make plans for all your money, or put it in certain categories to see all of your money, that bonus come, and then you go do things with that bonus that would have kept in a different area if you had really thought about it and thought about it as part of your income. the track if you were tracking it. So sometimes I know that we used to get the bonuses at work, and you take that bonus and you're gonna do something different. That's fine to do something different, but you want to make sure that you're mindful of what you're doing. When we talk about expenses, thinking about expenses can be stressful, especially if we're worried about making our ends meet. You know, for people that like, okay, like we talked about the people that say, well, my expense is greater than my income. Understanding where your money is going actually empowers you to make the choices you need to make the changes you need. It helps you, it empowers you. In the long run, it can help you reduce stress because you understand it helps you to reduce the stress of what am I going to do, because you know what your expenses are. You're looking at them, then you can make wise decisions or good decisions on what you need to do if you need to change things. Um, it can be useful if we think of how we use our money in different ways. So the categories that we have, the categories that I took from the FDIC were save it, share it, and spend it. Those were the three categories. Instead of all of these other categories that some people recommend, if you want to do the other ones, that's fine. But these are the three that made it kind of easier for me. So saving it, you save your money, saving the money to build towards something. Okay, you can save your money to build an emergency fund to help in case of a major reduction in income. If you lose your job, to pay for some unexpected expense. You can also save money, for short-term goals like back to school expenses, long-term goals like retirement. You want to go on vacation, you start these saving it, and just because you name it save it, you can say save it working toward vacation. So you can have this amount, and when you say save it, you don't just have to have one line item for save it. You can have save it working toward vacation, saving working toward unexpected expenses. And then there's the money we have for sharing. Like for me, it's my tithe. So my money, the tithe, if I'm going to help out a family member or a friend, if you give it to charities, then that's your sharing category. And then the other one is spend it. You can spend your money on now to pay for your basic needs that you have, and debt that you owe, or whatever else you're spending. So a lot of time that one will be, you can categorize it if you want, but when you look at it, you definitely want to at least know that this is the money that's for those things that I have to do every month, the rent, mortgage, those things that those set amounts that you pay every month. But then you also want to make sure that you don't forget about the things that you enjoy doing, things that you want to do, entertainment. Whatever you like to do, you want, I don't know, whatever you want to do. If you like to go out to eat, if you go to the movie, you got a date night once a month, whatever that is. If you like, okay, I like buying this. You want to make sure that you understand that. So if you do spend it, underspend it, you can have subcategories. If it works better for you, you can have those subcategories under there. But for me, I don't have a lot of things that I buy anymore, so mine is just spending. But you can do that. It's also helpful to think about your expense in three different ways. We talked a little bit about a needs and wants last week. Needs are things you must have to live, and the wants are things you desire or you feel like you can't live without. And then your obligations. These are your debt you owe because you borrowed money, such as a car loan, or you made another arrangement to pay them, such as rent. Anything that you're doing, where you are child support, you ordered to pay child support, whatever that is, your other obligations. So needs, wants, obligations. So here's what it is. Let me go for an example, a spreadsheet, and I have my spending. The categories that I had just talked about before. I have those three. I have my saving, sharing, and spending. When it comes down to my spending, I'm sorry. When it comes down to what I'm spending in either one of those categories, I also say to myself, is this a need, a want, an obligation? So if the more detailed you are, and it's up to you how detailed you want to be, but the more detailed you are, the better information you'll have, and the more information you'll have when you decide where you want to make changes. So for an example, I have my spreadsheet, just to say, I have a spreadsheet, and I have on here what I spend. I know what I spend. And now I'm deciding for each item, is this item a need? Is it a want? Is it an obligation? If it's a need, I know that can't make changes there. But I start with my wants to say, the wants, the things that I'm wanting, and the needs too, but let me go back to wants first. But the wants, I'm looking at my wants to say, okay, Do I want to go to McDonald's every morning and buy coffee, or do I want to make my own cup? Do I want to just make my own coffee at home? Uh, that kind of stuff to start to see if how you can start to save money, but as well as your needs, the things that you need, you can make some changes in the things that you need that will help you save money. So if your money is not where you need it to be, or you're still trying to build and do other things, and your mortgage company, you can talk to these people. You can talk to the people, even the ones that you need. You can talk their payment plan. ComEd has a payment plan where you know how your for your heat. Well, that's ComEd, yeah. What People Gas, I don't know. People Gas have a payment plan because in the winter time, the majority of the time our heating bill is more. For me, it's electric. That's why I couldn't remember. But the heating bill is more. And if you want, they can give you a payment plan where you're paying a certain amount every month, and that may kind of alleviate some of the hardship of making the payments in the winter time. If you're able to save that money, if you're able to put some money aside to say, okay, now, because when I first moved into this place, I have electric heat. I had never had these little baseboard heaters, and I was turning them on. I went bought new heaters because it wasn't warm in here. But I'm right over unheated garage. That's part of the reason. But anyway, I was paying $200 and something a month. And then when now that it's summertime and I don't care for air, I'll use it, but I really don't use it a lot. My bill was like $35. So now I'm paying almost $200 some dollars in the winter time. In the summer, I'm here paying $30. That's a big difference. Now, I make the decision. Do I want to get on that budget planner where I pay a certain amount where it balances out, or do I want to save my money, that additional money that I would have been spending on my electric bill? So you get to make those choices when you have them. It's just a need or want obligation. You can look at all those things. And some people can consider need. Some people, when we talk about needs and wants, my want may not be your want. My need may not be your need. For instance, some people may call a want a need, and the other person may not think that's a need. For one person, a smartphone may be a want, but for another person, especially like a person with disabilities, they may need the apps on their smartphone to do work or live independently. So just because it's not, so for that person, the smartphone would be a need. For me, it may be just a want to have a smartphone. For me, I may say that, well, I got this phone. Really, the only thing I do is make a phone call. I'm not doing a lot of other things on my phone. Then I'm not going to pay for for the additional things that they have on here. I'm not going to pay for the data, maybe whatever it is that it is. I only use my phone for certain things. All depends on what you do. You can make those decisions on how what the best way for you to use it. Asking yourself if you're using your money for a need, a want, or an obligation can help you consider how you want to use that money. Asking yourself if how you're using it will help you consider how you want to use it. It can sometimes be hard to determine if something is truly a need, and maybe it's a want that you wish were a need. Sometimes you may have to make those difficult choices. Decide, if do you really need this? It's like one size does not fit all, so it's going to be up to you individually to decide. Once you have identified some items as need, you can think about less expensive ways. We just said that less expensive ways to meet those needs. Once you have identified items as want, you can think about whether you want to use less money on those items. Once you have identified items as obligations, you can think about whether you can renegotiate your payment plan or other arrangement if you can't make those payments on time. Think that kind of thing. A person may let's say a person fall behind on child support, and they can work with the child support authorities to set up a payment plan that works better for them, so that it's one that they can achieve and make sure that they're paying on time. I added this, when people that have public assistance, resources or access limits are, they can also be a factor, in your decision on how you want to use your money. So they have these limits sometimes on how much money you can save, how much money you can have, that kind of stuff. So these resource or access limits tell you how much money and property you can have and still get your full benefit. They vary from different programs. So I really don't know. If you build up too much saving, your benefits could be eliminated or could be reduced. It's helpful to learn about these resources and limits from Public Aid or from their website or wherever. It's good to learn about, do their research, find out about that. There are programs. Well, let me before I go any further. I was told when I first retired and I got on what I get Social Security. Yeah, I was told when I retired, you can't work on you if you're on Social Security, but yes, you can. Well, you can only make a certain amount of money. That's not true either. You can make a certain amount of money and your benefits not change, but you can work and make as much money as you want. If you work and make more money, your benefits may be reduced, but then you don't care if you're making that money. So it may not even matter to you that I'm working now, I'm making more money. So what if my benefits decrease some? It may not bother you. So it's really up to you to decide, the best way that it works for you. So, and there are programs and products that allow people to save money and not jeopardize their eligibility. There's an ABLE account, which are ABLE accounts, which are savings accounts with people with disabilities. So they can have money in those accounts and it doesn't affect their eligibility or their benefits. If you receive public assistance through a program like with these limits, monitor how your spending and savings can affect the program. If you use your income to pay down debt or pay a bill early, that's one way you can use that extra income that you got that would have otherwise put you over the asset limit. So it's like if there are ways that you can, like if you get that money and you use it to do other things with it, there are ways that you can still make the money and it still not go over your assets limit. So you use this money to pay down some debt or pay some bills that you owe. You can use that money and it still won't take you over your limit of how much money you can make. So try to use your income in productive way that avoid exceeding these resources and these limits. If you have, if that's a concern for you. I'm going to go back just to check and see, are there any questions that I need to answer? My mouse sometimes does things, but make sure I'm not missing anything. We have a few people. We have our Sister Poole on the line, and she just said good morning. And yes, you can work. She agreed. She said, yeah, we can work. You can definitely work. So we just have to make sure when we're doing our research, we bring you this information with what I know, what I've done the research on. But you need to research things. When you're getting ready to do something, research it. Don't just assume just because people tell you that's how it works for them that's not how it's going to work for you. Let me tell you what happened to me. I had I wanted my student loan. I had a student loan. I went back to school and got my doctorate. I wanted my student loan to be forgiven. And I asked for it. And now, at the student loan forgiveness program, you already know this, that you have to be a teacher or a healthcare person. You have to work in these different fields. But I asked anyway. I feel like if you say no, I didn't lose anything. You say yes, I gained. So I asked anyway. And now I was going through, they kept on telling me, well, we can, cut your payment. We can help you if you're having a problem, making your payments. And they were cutting and they were helping me. But now I get a letter telling me my loan is forgiven. You never know. Don't let what happened to somebody else affect the decisions that you make. Even when you're going for that job that you want, go for it. If you feel like this is a job that you feel that you can do and a job that you want to do, apply for it. Apply for it. Every job you get, they train you. Yeah, they want you to have some experience there, but they really want you to be teachable. So, yeah, they do ask for experience sometimes, but go for the jobs that you want. Don't allow situations and things to stop you from doing the things that you want to do. So that's a big thing for me. Like when I applied, the truth is, I don't think I've ever been qualified for the things that I've done. I've done a lot of things that I didn't know how to do, and I'm sure other people have done things that they didn't know how to do. But we learn. When we want to learn, we learn. I remember when I first came to Chicago, and I had made up my mind that I was going to get a job, and I knew that I was going to go. I was living with my sister down by 51st and Calumet. And I got dressed that morning, and I knew in my heart that I was going to start at one side of the street, and I was going to go to every store I found, and I was going to come back up the other side, and I was going to get a job. I went to get a job. I didn't go to look for one. I went to get one. The first store I walked in, this man, I asked him for a job, and he asked me had I ever ran the cash register. Had never touched a cash register in my life. And I was just here from Mississippi. I had never stood that close to a white man. I was shaking. I was so nervous and I was shaking. So he saw me shaking, but I told him, I said, no, I've never done it. But if you show me how to do it today, I'll be able to do it tomorrow. That was my response. And he said, okay, we'll see. I was so scared. And every time he told me that he had the old cash registers, you know, you had to push the 9 and the 1 and to make the 10 and all that kind of stuff. And every time I push a button, the other button jump out. And I was getting more scared, but I was determined to do it. So he stood there, thank God, and he was patient enough to show me how to do it that day. And the next day, I did it. So if I can do it, you can do it. We can do those things we want to do. Stop listening to those people that say you can't. Stop listening to those people that say, you know, it's the same way when we went through our trauma and our traumatic situations and things that happened to us in the past when we didn't. People said we wasn't good enough. People said we couldn't do things. You know, we don't listen to other people. We don't let other people have control over our lives. We decide. We are in control. We are the masters of our own lives. No one else is. So that's what we're doing. We don't let people tell you you can't do things. Go look for yourself. When I became a manager, there was even managers who didn't think I could manage. I knew I could manage because I knew I could manage, and I knew I didn't have to manage. I knew those people over there that was doing the work knew what they were doing, and all I needed to do was go over and give them the tools they needed and support them. But a lot of time, we hold ourselves back. We hold ourselves back with the way we think. You know, that's important that we're mindful of what we think. We're mindful of what we let go into our mind. We're mindful of the things that we focus on. Those things will hurt you if they're not the best things for you. So just be mindful of those things. So, like I said, you can work. You can work on Social Security. You just be mindful of the access limits and look for things that you can do. The asset limits, asset limits, and be mindful of those and look for ways for things that you can do that does not hurt those. So tracking your expense helps you to understand if you're using your money in line with your values. We talked about our values and our goals. Am I using my money in alignment with my values? Tracking your expense may also uncover where you can make those changes, or perhaps decrease spending so you can save or you can share more of your income, whatever you desire to do. Tracking expenses has another unexpected benefit. When you track your expenses, you usually spend less money. When you see where your money is going, you will usually spend less money. One thing, I think I've shared this before, that I do now, I don't keep a freezer full of stuff. As a single person, I had a freezer on the refrigerator. I had a freezer in the basement. Very seldom went down in the basement, get food out the freezer, and I got all this stuff going with freezer burning now. It's a lot of things that we can do. We don't want to not know where our money went, and we definitely don't want to just throw it away. There are two tools that we're gonna talk about. Two tools that help us to understand how we're using our money. And the first tool is called My Savings, Sharing, and Spending Diary. We talked about that a little bit because when you get this notebook, you always need some tool. You can write it down. You can write it down for a certain period. It's good to do it for a month because you really need to see where you're doing. But it's good to do it for a whole month. So My Savings, My Sharing, My Spending Diary. Then the second one is called My Monthly Expense Log. And this helps you to put the amounts of your, amounts in from your sharing, your saving, or your sharing, your saving, or your spending. Put them in those categories. It's going to help you to start those categories. So on my saving, my sharing, and my spending diary, track how you use your money every day, preferably, like I said, for a full month. If you use a smartphone, you can use that to track your phone. Or there's some apps available. Or you can use the note function in your phone to write down things. Like when you're not home and you want to make notes, you can put them in your phone. Some people, you can use the whole your note option for the whole thing. Your savings, sharing, or when you do it, you can say your savings or sharing. You can say or saving toward. If you're saving towards something specific, and spending is likely different at different points during the month. So that's why it's good to do it at the entire month, because maybe you got date night and you went on your date night was the first weekend of the month or the second weekend of the month, but you don't do it for every day. So, but you still need to have that on your spending log. Don't forget about those significant expenses that you may not pay every month, like your car insurance, back to school preparation, um, the more costly utility bills we talked about in the wintertime. In the rightmost column, you put space there to identify these as your need, your want, obligation. This can be helpful as a way to re-examine how you use your money. So, like if I have in here that entertainment, and I have my amount that I plan to spend this month for entertainment, and then I put in there, if I put over to the side that this is a want, this is a want. Now, when I go back to entertainment, if my income of my expenses is too high for me, then I can go back and say, okay, my entertainment was X amount of dollars, and I need to cut my spending. So I'm not going to eliminate my entertainment, because you want to enjoy your entire life. We're becoming our whole authentic self, and having fun, enjoying your life, that's a part of it. But maybe the concert ticket I bought last time for entertainment was a little bit too expensive, more expensive than I want to spend. So maybe I'll look for sometime they have those what do you call them, first come if you buy it early, or things like that. And even if you're doing something like I'm going on vacation and you can get that trip earlier, the earlier you get, the better price you get, the better airfare you get, that type of thing. We can look for all inclusive thing. Okay, my meals and stuff are done here. If we go on a cruise, all the food is on the cruise. You may get off get off the ship and eat something, but your food and stuff, what you want is right there. Look for ways to how can I manage my money? What's the best way to manage my money? If it's a need, if it's a want, it's an obligation. Then help you re-examine how you want to spend your money. Look at wants in particular to make sure that the ways you're using your money align with your values and with your goals. So always look at wants. Always look at your wants to see if these are aligning with my values and goals. Okay, I have to go back to my PowerPoint. Okay. We talk about the monthly spending, so I want to make sure that, okay. Now, so the monthly expense log. So once you have your saving, sharing, and spending diary, you can now use the information from that to put it into your monthly expense log. This will help you organize and categorize how you spend your money. If you need a sample of this, send me an email, thomr862@gmail.com, and in the subject line put spending log or expense log, thomr862@gmail.com, and I will send you that information. I will send you some, because I have the handout that if I was doing this live, I have handouts that I would give, and I can send you a participant guide, and it has instructions in there. It has all this information in there. This will help you to organize this. If you're having that monthly expense log, will help you to organize and categorize how you spend your money. And this definitely is an important step to building your saving and spending plan. When we group these things into categories, just make it easier for you to decide where you need to make a change. Like I said, it's in my entertainment or whatever. The expense log can be separated into, I put 5 sections. I have saving, sharing, spending. And then there's a section there for a need, want, obligation. And then there's a final section for notes. Because even though something may be a want for me, I may not want to change that. It's a want. It's something I do all the time. I enjoy doing it. I like doing this. I'm not going to change it. Even though it's a want and it can be changed, I choose not to change it. So I put notes in there. That's where we write down in your note column how you could change an item, or write other notes that are important to you. You may have some notes that you want to put in there that's just important to you. You may have to do some math, to get your monthly amounts, for this log. If your expenses are on a schedule rather than monthly, then you may just have to do a little math for that. For some rows on the log, you'll need to add up several entries. You know, for example, you may need to add up the cost of several times you went to the grocery store. You know, I went buy grocery, but then I thought I had a taste for some greens, and I decided I wanted to buy some of this, and I went back to the store. So you can your monthly grocery it has to be all those amounts. So you may have to do a little adding to get the total amount. And you may have expenses that don't fit into any category that you have listed. If you have a different category, you choose the category names that you want. I'll send you, like I said, I'll be glad to send you what I have and what I use. But you choose the category names that work best for you. I really again, I really thank everyone who comes on to listen to these. I appreciate you. Hey, Jim. Jim said, see, Jim said, Jim is my new concert buddy, and Jim said that the tickets are expensive, but it will be worth it. And for that one, Jim, I totally agree. We're going to a concert in August, and the tickets were kind of expensive, but it's worth it. And those are my notes. That's something that I'm going to do. We don't take away all the things that we enjoy doing because we don't because they're wants. We don't do that. That's why I didn't agree with Forbes. I don't agree with you get rid of all your wants. Some of those things we like, and you got a right to the things you like. I mean, that's what life is about, enjoying the things you want to do, and you should be able to. So yeah, we going on this concert. I'm looking forward to the concert. And yeah, we got our tickets. So that is awesome. I'm really happy about that. And we got them early, so we make sure we got seats. But anyway, I want to thank you all for coming on today. As I said, I will post this on Facebook, on YouTube. Yeah, YouTube after we hang up from here. We want to always remember our affirmations. We'll do those, but let me say again that Mrs. Morgan will be joining us next week. We're going to recap a little bit about emotional maturity. We talked about, no, we're going to talk about emotional intelligence. We'll recap because we talked about emotional intelligence already. So we're just going to do a little recap and set the foundation to start to talk about emotional maturity. And I think Mrs. Morgan is a great guest. She'll be coming on. She lives in Texas, and she's a mental health manager in a prison facility. So she meets a lot of different people. And you know how sometimes we know how it is with our emotions. Somebody come and say something at the wrong time, and we don't always control our emotions, but we want to be mature with our emotions at all times. We want to control our life. We're in control of everything that affects us. We're in control of how we react. We're in control of what we say. We don't blame others. I had a couple of meetings with people this week, and our issue is not everybody's problem to solve. We solve the issues that we face. Because sometimes we say, if they would only stop doing that, well, they may not stop doing that. But what am I going to do about it? I'm going to set boundaries in my life. I'm going to enforce the boundaries. I'm going to hold on to the boundaries that I set. I'm going to do it myself. If I say that this is not something I'm not going to have in my life, then that's something I'm not going to have in my life. Because as we do that, and as we honor our own boundaries, other people will honor our boundaries as well. But we are the one, we have to start. So we're responsible for ourselves. Whoever, a young lady told me that they got me. These people got me. People don't got us doing anything. They can ask you to do whatever they want to ask us to do, but it's up to us. And if we need to always look at ourselves and find out what is it in my life that makes me that I have a problem with saying no. Why is it that I have a problem with? It bothers me to say no, and for me. I've had that problem. I talked to you about it because my problem was I wanted somebody to see me as good. You can't decide what other people see. You can't make them see you as good. You can be the best person in the world. If they don't see that for themselves, doing things and letting them do things to you is not going to make it better. It's not. It's not going to make it better. I had to see me as good. I had to see me as worthy. I had to see me as the person that I am. And then I had to live the life for myself. And then other people would begin to see, oh, she doesn't do this, She doesn't like this. I never see her doing that. People should get to know you. And one other thing we have to do, we have to bring our whole self. the good, the bad, and the ugly. We can't just show people the good part that we want them to see and expect to have a real relationship with them. I am the good, I'm the bad, I'm the ugly, I'm the bad things that I've done, I'm the good things that I've done. All of that made me. And in order to have a real relationship, we have to be so real. We have to be real with ourselves. And Jim, you are so welcome. You're so welcome. We're gonna get motivated, and we are gonna manage our finances. We're gonna talk about this. It may come back up again. Like I said, today is the last day that we will talk about it, unless someone says I need to know something more, or give me a heading, a subject, something that I can go on, and then I'll do the research and I'll bring that back. But next week we're gonna start talking about emotional maturity. Again, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, our Sister Pooh. Thank you for joining. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you, all you people that will be watching this later, and all the people who will see it on YouTube. Our affirmations for today: we honor ourselves by being authentic. That's right, Jim. Right? We're real. Who you see is who we are. Joyce, we're real with ourselves. We are actually and exactly who and what we claim to be. Nothing differently. We are financially mature, and we are safe places for ourselves. We don't expect to be safe, other people to make us safe places. We are the safe place for ourselves. And when we get to that place where we are safe in ourselves, when we are whole and authentic in ourselves, we find that we even look at other people differently. We don't get upset when somebody don't do things that we think they should do, because we understand that oftentimes it's not even easy for other people. Just because people may want to, but sometimes it's not easy. Especially for people who have not dealt with trauma triggers, people who have not faced the trauma that they experienced in their life, people who do not understand why they do things in their life. I didn't understand for a long time why if I didn't have it, I wanted it. And I still do that with Pop. I remember that Orange Crush. Daddy didn't buy me that Orange Crush. There's Pop in my refrigerator, and I may drink one Pop a month. Maybe not even a month. I don't even drink Pop. But if I don't have that Orange Crush, that trigger, I haven't gotten better with it yet. But so that Orange Crush is in the refrigerator. But I'm moving and I'm working toward being better. We never give up. We never give up. And we continue to move forward. Thanks again for joining today. I look forward to seeing you all on next Saturday at 8 a.m. with Saturday Morning with Dr. Mama Rosie Thompson. Have a great day. And as I said, if you need anything more about finances, let me know. Or if you want this slide about what I talked about today, send me an email, thomr862@gmail.com. T as in Tom. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.